From short-term rentals to parking to quality of life, those are some of the issues that Folly Beach Mayor Tim Goodwin is tackling. I talked one-on-one with the mayor for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Folly Beach Mayor Tim Goodwin, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
I appreciate it greatly. Needless to say, you are the mayor of the city of Folly Beach and have been since 2010. So let me ask you right now, Mayor, what is the state of the city of Folly Beach?
It's a great state. We're in good shape. We're the worst part is the erosion on the beach, but we're getting ready in April to take care of that. So we're really doing good, doing well.
Where exactly is the erosion right now on Folly Beach?
Where is it?
Exactly.
It's the whole length of the beach. We're unique in that we don't get replenished sand from anywhere updrift of us,
right?
Because of the jetties. So the whole beach is eroded from end to end, and we will start in the 1st of April replacing that sand for the folks coming in the summertime.
How much sand do you have to replace, Mayor?
Golly, I forgot what a cubic yard was, like 18 million cubic yards of sand to rebuild it back to the Corps of Engineers template.
Right. Absolutely.
And it actually puts sand dunes in place too that helps protect the houses,
right?
Not just along Front Beach, but along the whole beach area, because, you know, if a storm comes in, it don't just get the houses on Front Beach, it gets the houses 2 blocks over or 3 blocks over, like mine, and it'll a real hurricane will reach across the whole island. So it helps protect the whole island.
Now, how many sand dunes do you need currently, Mayor?
Well, we don't have any right now. We would like to have about 20 out there, but you know, when we get it rebuilt, it'll probably build up 3 pretty quick. Is what it usually does, and then they kind of come and goes because the sand moves up and down the beach all year long, just depending on how the currents are running.
And how long? I mean, from what's going on now to what happened before, how long did it take for this erosion to actually happen on Folly Beach?
Well, what happens is you never know exactly how long it's going to take because you don't know what storms are going to come.
Right.
The storm that hurt us worse last year was a storm in December. It was a northeaster that hung around for a couple of days. It caused a lot of flooding everywhere in the Charleston area and Folly Beach. But when it hangs around in the northeast winds, those waves get pretty angry and they destroy the beach pretty quick. So if a hurricane comes and it comes off the coast, it don't make landfall, but it hangs around a couple of days off the coast, that does more damage than if they come in and leave. You know, if they hit landfall, they usually keep on moving. They don't hang around. So those ones that want to hang around for 24, 36 hours or longer, those are the ones that really hurt you, even though they don't make landfall impact.
Right.
But when you talk about erosion, those are the ones that really kind of keeps the ocean stirred up and keeps things moving badly for erosion.
And of course, we will all experience that storm back in December, of course. So I know that storms usually occur during the summer on Folly Beach, Sullivan's Island, Olive Palms, all these very islands. Exactly right. Growing up here, I know all about it. But tell me, what is your plan for something like, unknown storms like what happened in December? If it occurred again, what would you do as mayor?
There's not a whole lot I can do. Like I told one lady who called me and asked me what we're going to do with all the water. I said, pray for low tide, because when you live on a barrier island, your flooding is pretty much controlled by the high tide or low tides. Same thing with the Peninsula of Charleston. The people who live down there experience the same thing.
Sure.
When it's a high tide and you get a lot of rain, you know it's going to happen. There's going to be water in the streets because there's no place for the water to go. And even if you pump it out, it's going to come right back on you somewhere else.
Yes.
So it's kind of a never-ending cycle.
Well, let me ask you this, Mayor. What is the city of Folly Beach's storm water plan?
Well, we've done a lot of work over the last 6-7 years with stormwater and actually outfalls with valves and things like that, trying to keep it out.
Yes.
But again, even if the valve is working where it doesn't let the water in, if we get a lot of rain or flooding because of a storm and it's high tide, there's nowhere for the water to go. So it's kind of a double-edged sword for you. Sometimes it works really good on just normal days of normal rain. It controls the flooding, and sometimes it don't. Now, we're working on a project that was first designed in North Carolina, where we'll take some storm water and pump it out to behind the sand dunes when we get the sand dunes back in place, and let the earth naturally filter the water out. Now, this is storm water, rainwater, basically, so it's not a lot of contaminants in it. But that's one thing we're going to do for some low areas along the beach, or along like Arctic Avenue or Ashley Avenue.
Yes.
And we're working with OCRM, of course, to get in the permits and all, and they've worked well with us. And this is going to be a trial for the Charleston area. And it worked well in North Carolina, so we hope it's going to work well for us too.
Now, Mayor, when exactly will that permit be issued?
Well, we got the permit. We're working on the engineering right now.
Okay. And how many? Yes, sir.
So when you get that done, how many we're going to start with? We're going to start with 2, I think it is, and we're going to see how it works, and then we'll go from there.
Yes, sir, absolutely. And I want to get back to that in just a second. But let me ask you, how do you currently accommodate the Folly Beach community in an environmentally and physically sustainable manner?
Well, we work at trying to keep everything sustainable. We work on creating green space where we can. Matter of fact, we just last year bought a couple of lots that come up for sale that were really low lots. I'm sure they could have got all the permits in place if they'd have wanted to, because it wasn't low areas, but they weren't really marsh. So, wetlands as such, as defined. But now the city owns them, so we're not going to really do anything with them and keep them as natural drain areas for the rain and that kind of stuff. But we work hard at trying to maintain the environment. Turtles is one thing. Shorebirds is another place we work hard at working, because we have some nesting shorebirds here at certain seasons as they migrate. So the beach is always working and trying to keep the environment great. They always have and they always will, because in keeping the environment great is what keeps tourists coming, which is the only money source for beach communities, basically, is have folks come to the beach, and then when they come to the beach, hopefully they stop and spend a little money on the way.
Absolutely. How many tourists did the city of Folly Beach receive in 2023?
Well, the last study we did wasn't in 2023, but it was 21, I think it was, like over 1 million.
Wow.
Any great sunny day, even in the wintertime,
yes, sir.
The population explodes because people get cabin fever and want to get out of the house. Hey, let's go to the beach. It's a beautiful day,
Yeah.
So we can go from 2,000 residents to, in the summertime, 40,000 people quick. It's easy.
It's easy.
And when we do traffic counts, you look at it and say, man, where do we park all those cars? But people come and they find a place to park, and we have plenty of parking. You might have to walk a block or a block and a half to get to the beach, but there's plenty of free parking. So it kind of encourages people to come. I hate to be advertising that for everybody to hear, but yeah, we do have free parking, and if you don't get here real early, you probably won't get on the first block of the beach, but there's 2 or 3 blocks back. And when Folly Beach is unique, when they were originally laid it out, started laying the streets out, there's a mid-block right away from the river to the ocean in every block. So we try to keep those open for people. If you park say you park on West Cooper, which is a block back, or a block and a half back, basically, even if you park in the middle of the block, you can find a way to walk to the beach for public access. And
I want to talk to you more in depth about parking in just a minute, but how much free parking is available right now in the city of Folly Beach?
It's probably 5 times as much as paid parking. People complain about private parking lots and the high price they cost. Guys, if you just park a if in a paid parking area, if you just parked across the street at the city's parking lot, instead of paying $20 a day or $30 or $40 a day, whatever they can get, maximum is like 10. But there's plenty of free parking. Now, like I said, you might have to walk a block to get to the beach, but it's free parking, so you don't have to pay. Those private lots we have no control over.
Right.
I wish we did, because they wouldn't be charging the prices they charge most of the time. But if you come to the beach, there's plenty of free parking every street on the beach is free parking. The only thing you have to remember is you park you don't block anybody's driveway, number one. you park off of the roadway. All four tires have to be off of the pavement, and you park in the direction of the traffic. That's a state law. So if you follow those three basic rules, there's parking everywhere around Folly Beach.
Now, Mayor, let me ask you this then. How does the city of Folly Beach actually balance public beach demand with the available safe parking capacity on the island?
That's a tough question. If you get the answer to that, you come talk to me and we'll hire you as a traffic controller.
I need a salary. I was joking.
Because that way, it's because it's a different problem every day. So that's kind of, we try to provide. We've been putting in public or pedestrian paths, kind of like sidewalk.
Sure.
And we're going to be putting in some more of those. Hopefully people will use them. It's amazing how people will walk in the street next to what looks like exactly the sidewalk you would use anywhere else. Please use the sidewalks. Use the pedestrian paths. Don't walk in the street if you don't have to. And that would help us more than anything else. If the pedestrians just pay attention, this isn't Disney World when you cross the bridge. There is traffic, and we're not in control of all the traffic all the time. But, so as a pedestrian, when you come to the beach, just pay attention and try to help us help you stay safe.
Now, this might be a redundant question, Mayor, but how has Folly Beach developed and maintained a good public beach access system over the past 2 years?
Well, we have over 50 public beach accesses. We maintain those. Those have been there since as long as I can remember. Before I was mayor, before I was on city council, but when I was a teenager coming here to the beach. But so we have plenty of public beach access. You just have to be careful when you park and know where you're going. You can go to the website and you can get a layout of parking. You can get maps. You can get all kind of information off our website. And I would suggest folks do that ahead of time. Don't get in. You can get DOT cameras.
Yes.
If you put your app in, and you can see what the traffic looks like going to each beach, whether it's Folly Beach or Isle of Palms or Sullivan's Island. So, if you see traffic's backed up and you think, oh my God, I don't want to get in that, then don't get in it. But I will say, average from, if it's backed up bumper to bumper, both lanes, from the beach to Harris Teeter, which is Solid.
Oh, yes.
If you get that red light and you're waiting to get on the beach, that's probably a 20 to 25 minute trip. We do try to keep traffic moving as much as we can. In the old days, if you got caught there, that would have been about an hour trip. So we rearranged Center Street, and we got folks working the traffic light where they manually work the traffic light to keep it moving as much as possible. It's really cut down on travel time. So don't get too scared, even if you see a bunch of cars on those cameras, because we do try to keep traffic moving.
Now, how many people are actually working on manually changing those lights when it gets busy like that?
Well, there's only one traffic light, so there's one at a time, but they take turns. They take an hour shift or hour and a half shift, and the beach patrol does it, and they change out. They go back on the beach to patrol instead of being at the light.
Now, Mayor, let me ask you this. What traffic management plan would you actually update when it comes to the city of Folly Beach in the future?
That's a good question, and we're getting ready to work with DOT to do a safety survey and try to come up with a plan, just like what you asked for. What can we do to make the traffic safer and calm traffic down? Folks, it's amazing people get in a big hurry because they think I guess they think the ocean's going to evaporate before they get there. The water's going to be there. I promise you. When you get there, the water will be there. Now, another thing people need to remember too is if you're at the beach and you hear a clap of thunder and 25 raindrops, if you sit in your car for usually about 10, 15 minutes, that storm will bypass you and you can go right back to the beach. Instead of sitting in traffic for an hour, just everybody try to jam and leave at one time, you might as well be calm and just kind of hang out in your car for a while, wait for that little storm to pass by and go back and enjoy the beach instead of getting stuck in traffic.
Speaking of being on the beach, I want to ask you this, Mayor, but what beach path maintenance do you actually have in your management plan?
Well, we budget for those paths to be clean and protected and for replacement or repair of walkovers to get to the beach. So that's in a budget every year. And those guys work hard at keeping it up.
They do. And how much money do you have in the budget for that this year?
I think it was about $70,000.
Wow.
Now, if a storm comes by,
yes,
that's not in our regular maintenance management plan. So we have to get some money and we have to sometimes we can get a grant to replace them. Sometimes we can't, but we still have to replace them. Especially our handicap accesses. We have multiple handicap accesses, and we want to keep those. Those are like repair number one on the list, and then we work down the list as we go from there.
Now, any updates that you want to have to this regular maintenance plan?
No, because the guys that do it, that manage it, they do a good job, and they're continually updating whatever their process is or schedule is. So they do a good job at managing that.
Now, going back to the parking, Mayor, I know the city's asking to put in more paid parking spaces, and from my research, the city actually overstated the number of spaces available originally. How many did you paid parking space did you want originally versus right now?
I don't know what number you're looking at, so I can't tell you that because this parking plan has been back and forth with DOT for several years, so it's nothing new. But when we finally had a sit down with them this year, it was like, oh, well, we didn't understand all these residential streets were free parking. so that opened their eyes to, and hopefully everybody else, to that, oh my goodness, there's a lot of free parking. And what we were asking to use as paid parking is more of a plan to try to spread people out. So we don't want you to pay. We don't want you to want to pay to park. We want you to go find a place for free parking, but we want to spread you out from everybody trying to congest Center Street area.
Right.
So you'll go east or west a little bit and spread out as you go 2 or 3 blocks down and still enjoy the beach because the beach will be there.
Yes.
And we kind of spread the parking out, spread the traffic out a little bit too.
Now, how will the city actually manage some of these paid, or how do you actually manage some of these paid parking spaces, I should say?
Well, they're managed with a contractor, and they use a lot of electronic payments, and they come by and check you out because when you put in your electronic payment, like every other electronic parking area, they're going to get your license plate number, so they'll come by and you ask me more than I know about this now, but they come by and they'll cross-check your license plate number to whether you paid or not, and how it goes from there.
Now,
a lot of parking lots downtown in Charleston.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yes, sir. And I want to ask this: how exactly is the parking company that the city uses is compensated? Is it flat fee per week, month, or are they actually compensated on a basis of percentage of the tickets issued or fees collected?
Well, what we do is we see how much money we collect, and then we take all the overhead out of that because the city has to pay some, they pay some, and then after that, then it's a split. They get a percentage of what's left over. But these guys not only write parking tickets, but they keep the public bathrooms clean. So they have to buy supplies for that. So there's a lot of overhead that goes into this. So paying the park isn't just paying the park. It's paying the park, plus it's paying to keep the public access. It helps keep the public accesses public, and it helps keep the public bathrooms working. And we're even working at trying to put in more bathrooms as we can as we go along. I will say this: we're working with Charleston County Parks to try to put a bathroom in at where the entrance to go to the lighthouse overlook on the far east end of the island. So we try to do that for the public, and that's where this money goes. It goes right back into public accesses, and public restrooms, and that kind of stuff. So when you're paying the park, but you're paying to also keep up some public use and public access.
Yes, sir. Now, Mayor, when you talk about the overhead with this company that you all are actually compensating for their services that you just mentioned, how much is the city paying, and how much are they paying to you all?
Well, I don't want to get into that because it's public information if you for you. But if I give you a dollar amount, I will give you the wrong amount, and I don't want to.
No worries.
I don't want to give you bad information.
No worries. Well, let me ask you this. Yeah. Yes, sir. Well,
they don't get the line. They don't get the lion's share of the money. I will admit the city does.
Yes, sir.
So, but then again, like I said, the city turns around and uses it for public access and public beach process.
Right. Now, going over to the idea that you want to have another restroom, I should say, with the Charleston County Parks. How much do you all have to chip in, and how much is would Charleston County actually chip in?
Well, we're working on that.
Okay.
Okay. So we haven't got that finalized yet.
Oh, no worries. And let me turn over to drainages. I know, obviously, there's some repairs that are coming down the pipeline for that, from my understanding. What is the city's timeline for when those repairs to the roadways for drainage purposes will actually be completed?
Well, it depends on a lot of things. It depends on the time of year. We don't want to go in and stop public access to the beach in the summertime. So if we don't get everything lined up before the summer crush comes, we'll wait to the end of the crush to do that. So we're not closing off of public access to the beach, because that's where these drainage collection areas where we collect the water and then pump it to the dunes would be at public. Those little public beach accesses, yes, where you have parking in the end of the streets. That's where most of this water collects. So that's where we would be putting in a system. So you don't want to be doing that and close that public access down for 2 weeks or so trying to get all that done. So the time is going to, like everything else, the time is going to be when you get ready. Okay, now can we do it now, or do we need to wait, another 4 weeks? We've had to work this long, wait another 4 weeks, then we won't be impacting the public as much as we would if we did it today instead of 4 weeks from now.
And is that costing the city much more money, or?
It's all our money.
Okay. Okay. Is it costing you a lot?
Yeah, it depends on how far you have to pump it and that kind of stuff. So that's what the engineering works for. Yes. But there's no grant money out there for this yet. But maybe with these pilot projects going on, it might get the attention and get some grant money for our future use, or Sullivan's Island, or Isle of Palms, or somebody, or Hilton Head, or anybody else that needs to use it.
Yeah. And Mayor, over time, how much water have you all been able to collect?
I have no clue. Because we don't collect it right now. We try to get rid of it. So we don't know how much water is actually, because how much water falls, we don't know how much water actually runs through the system.
Okay. And let me ask you this. What is that timetable for all of that to take place?
Well, like I said, we're working on the engineering now, so the sooner the better. As soon as we can get to it, we're going to do it as quick as we possibly can, because it's going to help traffic.
Yes,
some of this water backs up in the roadway, like along Ashley Avenue, so it's going to help traffic and help manage the stormwater.
And how has the city of Folly Beach developed, adopted, and actually implemented a drainage master plan in coordination with the adjacent jurisdictions?
Well, we don't work with the adjacent jurisdictions, but we do work with Charleston County, the Charleston County Stormwater Group. So, like I said, in the last 7 years, I guess we've really worked with those guys. We're very close, and we do a lot of projects and ditches and stuff like that, and ditch control and clean outs and all. And at Folly Beach, it's a microcosm of everywhere else. So at our beach, some of the ditches or some of the drainage is owned by Charleston County. Some of it is because of the roads. A lot of it is owned by the Department of Transportation for the state, because the state owns these roads, 99% of them.
Right.
We own a couple of roads, so we own that drainage, and then these projects that we do, like this pilot project I was telling you about, the beach, would be paying for that, because we were saying, hey, we've seen this. This is a good idea. Work somewhere else. Let's try it here. And everybody's going, okay, yeah, go ahead and try it, but you go pay for it. So it's 3 government agencies working well together, and they meet once with the county and DOT. Our guy meets once a month, and they have some walk-in reviews, and they sit down and do their planning monthly. So we work very closely with those guys. Now, we don't really impact like the city of James Island or the city of Charleston, because we're on an island out here somewhere.
Right.
A little bit of land mass that we have, not years ago, like the Harris Teeter at the corner of Solidarity Road. Those guys have to work with James Island and the city of Charleston in that group. Of you've seen drainage projects, and all the state legislators going around saying, we're going to take care of this drainage project, be part of my group. That's who those guys work with, because they are out there. And the folks from Salt Lake.
Oh yes.
Try to work well with those guys too.
Oh, absolutely. And lastly, Mayor, I want to talk to you about this. Obviously, this is a part of reviews, and it has been reviewed a whole lot of time. And I know that it's been a big topic on the island, and that is short-term rentals. Let me ask you, how many short-term rentals are there actually on Folly Beach right now?
License is over 900 for what we call investor short-term rentals. Those are folks who rent all year long. I forgot. It seemed like it was 140 resident renters. So that's a different group by the IRS that says you can rent your house up to 72 days and still have a 4% residential tax base for your property. So you're over, let's just say 1,100 right now.
Wow.
But with the cap that was voted in,
right,
the short-term rental is only the only ones they were talking about was the 365-day investor short-term rentals. They weren't talking about the 72-day or less 4%ers or resident short-term rentals.
And what is the maximum sales price for residential occupied homes?
Whatever they can get. You talking about rental price?
Yes, sir.
Or sales price? Well, rental price again is whatever they can get. So there's no maximum. That's it's kind of like public parking in public parking lot or private parking lots. It's whatever you're willing to pay.
Okay.
Whether you're willing to pay $5,000 a week or $2,000 a week or $1,000 a week, it's crazy. But
wow. And how profitable have these short-term rentals been for the city of Folly Beach?
Well, it's the only thing that they are profitable for us for is the accommodation taxes. So if you're staying, just like if you stay at a hotel or any other place, they have to pay accommodation taxes for the amount of money that they make off of renting, and that's where the beach gets money. Property taxes. We get very little property taxes. Like when you get your bill from the county, when you look at the breakdown, you'll go, oh, wow, yeah, the city didn't get much because the school district got so much and this guy got so much. Everybody else got their hand in that pot. people don't understand that till we tell them that, and they go back and look at it and they go, "Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying."
Yeah, and I know the city shows that 25% of the short-term rental owners have rented for less than 28 days. So, what exactly, Mayor, is the problem with this on Folly Beach?
Well, the problem is we were at a 43% saturation rate of the ISTR, investor short-term rentals. So 43% of the houses on the beach were rentals, and people are going, "Wow, we need to save our community, and we need to slow these folks coming down just trying to make it just a place to go rent and make money." Because the people who have the ISTRs or the investors, they don't live here. They don't. They're not your neighbor. They're not the people who. If you live next to me and you rent your house for 72 days or less, that means you're going to live there most of the time. So you have to put up with me. So you're going to try to get good renters, and you're not going to try to get somebody that's going to tear your house up because you got to come back and live there. The investors is like, "Yeah, we don't care. Y'all go ahead, do whatever you want to do." And when you have that kind of saturation rate, you have new neighbors every 7 days. So people say, "Well, why don't you train them to be quiet? Or why don't you train them to do this?" It's because we train one group, 7 days later they leave and a new group comes. So you got to start your training process all over. It's not like, "Hey, these are permanent residents and they're going to learn, don't do this, and stay here." They're going to learn, don't do this, and 3 days later they're out of here, going back to wherever they come from, and a new group of people is going to move in. So that's kind of the problem when you talk about short-term renters.
This might be a silly question, Mayor, but with this big problem, with the issue with short-term rentals, has the city actually done any livability study to see what the city needs as far as quality of life?
Yeah, we do that all the time, and we actually have a new department for short-term rentals that actually go through and they check the paperwork part, plus they are code enforcers, so they're out there trying to make sure it's done properly.
And how many more, code enforcers do you need to keep up with all of this fluctuations of short-term rentals?
I need about 10 more, but I probably won't get that many because it's not just the people coming and going. It's that 95% of the houses on Folly Beach are on septic tanks.
Right.
So, you got to make sure that those things keep maintained so they're not overused and overflowing. And, so there's a lot of back things that go into this kind of thing. I'm going to have to run.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's fine. That's perfect. And, I thank you for your time here on Quintin School. That's Mayor Goodwin.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.